If I was to ask you right now, without looking, would you know where your hands are? Most of us can reach for our coffee cup, can type on our keyboard, scratch a nose, without consciously having to think about it. This is called proprioception. It's your body's ability to sense where your limbs are and what they're doing without having to visually confirm it. The best teams develop this same sensing ability. They can know what their teammates are thinking and doing without asking. They can anticipate problems before they happen, and they can coordinate actions without endless meetings. It's like they have a telepathic understanding. Today I'm going to show you how to build this team proprioception in your group. I'm going to start with a story that might just change how you think about communication. This is another video in our series showing on how you build unified teams through the 3 pillars. Today we're diving deep into pillar 2, flowing communication. But this isn't about better meetings or clearer emails. By the end of this video, you'll understand why team communication breaks down, what team proprioception actually looks like in practice, and the 5 specific techniques to build it systematically. If you've been following these videos, you'll know that we're building towards the complete 5-task system that transforms struggling teams into unified forces. First, let me ask you this. How many times has your team been surprised by a problem that someone saw coming but never mentioned? April 13th, 1970. Apollo 13 is 56 hours into what should have been the 3rd moon landing when an oxygen tank explodes. The mission instantly transformed from moon landing to survival. What happened next is one of the greatest examples of team proprioception under extreme pressure. What most people miss about Apollo 13 is that they didn't follow rigid communication protocols. Information just flowed in every direction. Engineers shared half-formed ideas immediately. Astronauts reported every tiny little detail, no matter how minor. Team leads from different departments started talking directly without going through hierarchies. Everyone contributed their piece of the puzzle because communication barriers disappeared in service of the mission. The crucial insight is that in 87 hours, they solved problems that should have taken weeks, not because they were smarter, but because information flowed through the team like it was a nervous system. And the technique that they used, without realizing it, is something that you can use in your team starting tomorrow. So what does this look like in action? Watch this. The player with the ball never looks up, but somehow he knows exactly where his teammate's going to be. The pass is perfect. The receiver's already moving before the ball arrives. That's not luck, and it's not just practice. That's team proprioception. Now let's look what this might look like in a business context. Sarah notices that the API response times are getting slower. Instead of waiting for the weekly stand-up, she immediately messages the back-end team. Before she even explains the problem, Marcus from infrastructure says, "I saw that too. Already spinning up additional servers." Lisa from QA chimes in, "I'll prioritize the performance tests we discussed." Nobody assigned these tasks. Nobody held a meeting. The team sensed the problem and responded organically, as if it's one nervous system. In another team, the social media manager sees engagement dropping on a campaign. She doesn't write a report or schedule a meeting. She drops a quick message. Campaign engagement down 15% today. Seeing complaints about the checkout process. Within minutes, the web team chimes in that they're seeing cart abandonment spikes. Customer service shares that they've had 3 calls about the same checkout area. The product team already has a fix ready to deploy. This is team proprioception, a collective awareness that allows teams to sense problems and opportunities instantly and respond as if it was one organism. Compare that to most teams where problems fester for days or weeks because information gets trapped in silos. People assume that someone else is going to handle it, or everyone's waiting for the next scheduled meeting. So how do you build this? It turns out there's 5 specific techniques, and the first one's quite surprising. Most people share what they're doing. Elite teams share why they're making specific choices. Instead of "I'm updating the pricing page," try I'm updating the pricing page because customer support told me that 3 people this week asked about our refund policy, and I noticed it's buried in the fine print. When you share your reasoning, others can spot patterns, suggest improvements, or catch problems before they happen. This isn't about status meetings. It's about creating a continuous flow of lightweight updates. For example, quick update. Client call moved to 3 p.m. giving us extra time to prep the demo. Heads up, server maintenance tonight might affect tomorrow's data pools. For your information, legal approved the contract language. We're good to proceed. These 10-second updates prevent hour-long emergency meetings. Most problems happen because people make different assumptions and they never check them. Instead of, I'll get this to you by Friday and thinking, end of day, try, I'll get this to you by Friday, end of day, assuming no major changes to the scope. Another example, instead of the client loves it, try the client loves the concept, although they want to see 3 color variations before final approval. You have to create natural ways for different parts of your team to see what others are working on. Shared project channels where anyone can lurk and lean. Quick, weekly, what's on your radar check-ins. Rotating attendance at each other's team meetings. In teams with good proprioception, conflicts get addressed within hours, not weeks. For example, Tom thinks the deadline's unrealistic. Instead of complaining to others or gossiping or staying silent, he immediately says, I'm concerned about the Friday deadlines given the scope changes. Can we quickly talk through our priorities? A 5-minute conversation prevents 3 weeks of stress and missed deadlines. The thing about these techniques is they only work if you create the right environment first, and that is where most managers get it wrong. All those techniques that I just shared are the visible part of the iceberg. The key foundation is psychological safety. People have to feel safe sharing incomplete thoughts, admitting confusing and surfacing problems early. As a leader, you have to go first. You have to share your uncertainties, admit your mistakes, and ask for help. I'm not sure if this approach will work, but here's what I'm thinking. I made an assumption about the budget and it turned out to be wrong. When someone brings you bad news early, thank them. When someone admits a mistake, focus on the solution and not on the blame. We have to frame problems as learning opportunities. What can we learn from this becomes more important than who's responsible for this. When people feel safe being imperfect, information can flow naturally. When they're afraid of judgment, everything gets filtered and delayed. Here's your homework. For the next 2 weeks, focus solely on building psychological safety. Don't worry about the 5 techniques yet. Week 1, share 1 uncertainty or a mistake per day with your team. Week 2, when someone brings you a problem, respond with curiosity, not judgment. If you do this consistently, you'll start to see information start to flow more freely within days. Managers that do this start to see problems surfaced and solved in hours instead of weeks. Team members start collaborating across projects without being asked. Client satisfaction scores jump because issues are caught early. You spend less time in emergency meetings. This is the power of flowing communication.